It's that time, homeschool parents. It's August, and it's time to get this school year planned. I'm going to share with you today the picks that I've made for my youngest daughter for 8th grade. I'm glad you joined me. Welcome to the Homeschool Files. My name is Brenda, and I have graduated 2 of our kids, and I'm on my last one. I have one more child to finish homeschooling with, and she will be in 8th grade this year. And so I was just going to share a little bit about my curriculum choices for her, and I want to add a caveat. Every child I have homeschooled has used completely different things in 8th grade and in every grade because they are 3 completely different kids. They had different interests, they had different learning styles, and everything about them has just been different. And so I have never said, this is what I use for 8th grade, repeat, repeat, repeat. Doesn't work in my homeschool. I know that sometimes you can do that with some kids, and that's a great thing, but it never has worked out for me. I also had my kids kind of spread out, and so there was usually a newer edition or some new things that had come out by then, and I was like, ooh, I want to try this. So I've always made some different choices. I try to cater to what they need, but I do want to share with you what I've chosen simply because maybe something that I've chosen will work for your student. Maybe it won't. And I might have a few things on here that you've never heard of. A couple of them are, well, especially one of them is a little lesser known, and most people that I say it to have not heard of it. So I want to share these things with you so you have some other options for you. Okay. First is math. We have done a lot of things, and I've used a lot of curriculum in math over 3 kids of time, but we always have landed on teaching textbooks about this time. They always have transitioned to teaching textbooks before high school. It has worked well for all of my kids. And I know that there's differing opinions about that, and that is okay. That's what homeschooling is all about, choosing what works best for your family. Teaching textbooks actually is one thing that has worked for my kids. I've had to use some different things to fill in gaps and things, but we always kind of come back to this. So my daughter, who is beginning 8th grade, will be using teaching textbooks pre-algebra. That's right where she's landed, and that's the curriculum that we will be on this year. We used to use teaching textbooks back when they had the CDs, but we don't have a computer that you can push a CD into anymore, so we've had to go to the subscription model, and I like it fine. It's good. You will run out of time if you don't get on it, and that's kind of a good thing because it makes you say, hey, we can't skip math. We got to get this done. And that's okay. We didn't have any problems with it. You can pause your subscription during the year if you're going to be off for a month or so. And so they give you some leeway there. And I think if you run out of time and you call them, I've heard that they will give you some extra time. So it's fine. But we're going to be using that. If you're not familiar with teaching textbooks, their website's good, and I will tell you, you must take the placement test that they have on their website, even if you're planning to use this for 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever, because grade levels kind of differ amongst curriculum. And so just because you're saying, well, my kid just finished 5th grade in this curriculum, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go to 6th grade in teaching textbooks. In fact, one of my kids skipped a grade level up when they got to teaching textbooks because what they had been using was harder and teaching textbooks was a little bit easier. And so the grade levels aren't exactly the same. So always use the placement test to make sure you've got them in the right place. Okay. All right. Next is science. Now, in Texas, where we live, we are not required to teach science. It is not in the state homeschool law. But of course, if you're sending your kid to college, they're going to need science. And we've always done some science. But last year and this year, I'm taking a little leeway with that and saying, hey, it's not mandatory. And we're going to do science all through high school. So let's take a little time to do something kind of fun. So last year we did unit studies with science. We did the things that she was interested in. She was very interested in mushrooms. We kicked the year off with that. And we learned all about them. She already knew quite a lot of it. And we just did what she was interested in. This year, I'm going to do something that I got an idea of from Sunlight. So Sunlight has a core. It's called Core J, which is the history of science. And I was very interested in that because I just think she'll really like it. But I got to looking at the materials that Sunlight uses, and I didn't really like the spine books. If you don't know what that is, it's the main books that they use, and then there's other books they bring in. But the main books is a 3-book set, and we read some samples of it online, and I wasn't impressed. You may have used that core and said, no, it was really great, but I did not like the way the book was written and the beliefs that it was bringing out, and I just didn't care for it. But I still wanted to study the history of science. So what I did is I asked our wonderful homeschool librarian. We have an actual homeschool library where we live. It's a mom who is a librarian, and she is a retired homeschool mom. And at the end of homeschooling, she was like, I've got all these books. And so she just opened a library in her home, and we pay a yearly subscription to her, and she's very helpful. And I told her my idea, and she said, yeah, I think I've got some books for that. Hang on. And she sent me a huge list. And so all I have to do is just find a chronological timeline of history of inventors, scientists, progress in science from the beginning all the way up to now, and use her books. And we're just going to read about it and learn about it in chronological order. And I'm kind of excited about that. We'll probably throw some science experiments in there, definitely some field trips. And I'm just kind of creating that one as I go. It is okay to do that. In Texas, it says you have to use a written curriculum. It doesn't say the mom can't be the one to write it. So I'm kind of making that one up as I go. I'm going to be working on that this month prior to us starting school. And I'm really excited about that one. All right, moving on. History and literature. So history and literature are going to go together this year because we're using a wonderful company called Guesthollow. If you have not heard of Guesthollow, you need to get yourself right over there to guesthollow.com right now. They saved our science. When our oldest daughter was in 9th grade, we were struggling and struggling. I actually looked up what we had used for her in 8th grade. Anyway, in 9th grade, we had tried, in 8th and 9th, we tried different curriculum, and it was terrible. It was awful. She was not strong in math, and we weren't concerned about her science having math in it. And that when it doesn't have math in it, that's called conceptual science. So we ended up doing conceptual chemistry, conceptual biology. I didn't need for her to do all the math and formulas and all of that because she wasn't going into a science field that was necessary for. So what we're going to do is what we found Guesthollow finally after so much searching, because they were a very, very small company back then, and their biology was actually free back then, I think, or $20 for the lesson plans or whatever. And oh my gosh, it saved our high school. We continued to use Guesthollow's high school science for all of her science, that oldest daughter. My middle daughter has used a lot of their stuff too, and I've used a lot of it with my youngest. One year, this was the coolest year. One year, they all 3 did anatomy. You guys, I had a kindergartner or pre-K kid, like a 5th or 6th grader, and a high school student. And we all did anatomy because Guesthollow has a pre-K kinder anatomy, a middle grades, like a middle school anatomy, and a high school level anatomy, and they shared some of the same books sometimes, and we were always on the same topic together, and they were interested in each other's stuff. If I was watching a video with the youngest child, the older ones would walk in and go, oh, I learned about that, and watching the little kid video kind of helped them. And then my youngest daughter was interested in what they were learning in their big girl books, and she'd like, oh, what is this? So they learned so much that year, and I just thought it was so neat that having kids that far apart, we could all study the same science all year. It was really cool. Guesthollow has amazing stuff, and it just works so well for us. You do have to get the books yourself. So it's literature based like Sunlight, but she doesn't sell the books. She sells you the lesson plans, and they're amazing. You want them, and they have way more than you could ever do. And it's very multi-sensory. There'll be videos, there will be crafts, there will be writing, there will be reading, there will be all kinds of ways to learn the material. And so you have to get the books. So I go to abebooks.com or Thrift Books or the library, and I just gather the books. I usually try to just get a couple months at a time and save up a little money, get a couple more months, and you can resell those when you're done. They resell very well. to other people who want to use Guesthollow. So don't be afraid to invest in those because you can resell them and get some of your money back. So we are going to actually branch out away from Guesthollow's science this year, and we're going to use one of their history curriculum. And we've never done that before, and I'm very excited. We're going to do it's called the Whirlwind World History curriculum. And so it's for 8th grade and high school, or 8th grade and maybe 9th grade. I can't remember exactly, but something about it made me say, we could get high school credit for this. I'm not sure if she's ready for that or not. So we're going to go ahead and roll with it. And if it turns out that, hey, yeah, she's doing the high school line, then I'm going to go ahead and give her credit for that for history. If it turns out, no, we really kind of used the middle school track on that, then that's okay. She'll have 8th grade that she did that for, and that's okay. We have not done a whole world history year before. We've done world history broken up over the years, but this time we get to do the whole thing. Whirlwind is right because we're going to go through the entire timeline of world history. And I'm excited about that one because it is literature based and she does like to read. She's not big on reading what is assigned to her, but I've already talked to her and said, look, you're going to have to read what's assigned this year. It's going to be a great curriculum. I know it will be because Jen Guest makes everything fun. Okay, so the next thing is I found a course that will really be interesting for her, and it is from Seven Sisters Homeschool. Now, we have used a lot of their stuff. They have great literature guides. That really got my older two girls through high school, just using literature guides from them. We're not doing high school yet. We're doing 8th grade. But this, I'm thinking, could be high school elective credit if it's done well enough. Well, again, we'll just wait and see. If it looks like, yeah, this was high school level work and she did it well, I'll give credit. If not, well, that was a great course for 8th grade. It's either way. I'm okay with that. But what we're going to be using is called Intro to Psychology from a Christian Perspective. So it is not a deep dive into psychology. It is an intro or an overview of psychology, but that is very interesting to her. She loves detective stuff and crime scene stuff, and I just think she's going to really like it. So it's actually a half credit. I think we can probably spread it out over the year, or we may do it for one semester. I haven't purchased it yet. We'll look at that and see how it goes. My older daughter, I believe in 9th grade, maybe not in 8th, I can't remember. She used their Health and Human Development from a Christian worldview or Christian perspective, and that was a very good course. That took them from babies all the way up to old people, and it was a very good course, and she really did like that one as well. So they have some good stuff, and I'm looking forward to that. It is a download. It is not a physical book. You can print it or you can use it online, but that's going to be a great course. I am still trying to decide. We were set on foreign language. I was like, 8th grade is a pretty good year to start on those foreign language credits for high school because it's not that hard. You can do it in 8th grade if you can do it in 9th grade. And we were kind of set on ASL. And I have a course already for ASL. And I was like, great, super, ASL, that's going to be super. And about 3 or 4 weeks into it, we started playing around with it last spring. She's like, I don't think I want to do this. I don't think ASL is for me. So we're kind of back to square one on that one. I think I'm just going to hold off on that until she is better settled in her mind which foreign language she wants to do. Because for high school credit, you need to have 2 years of the same language. You can't change your mind. So I'm going to let her grow a little more, mature a little more, figure out what she wants to do, and we'll tackle those in high school. So I was going to do that in 8th grade, but that's okay. Bible, I'm still not set on. We are Christians, and I normally use Bible in the mornings with our morning basket time. And I have a few things I'm looking at specifically from the Bible Project. We like to go through a theme. They have some really good thematic videos. Like a couple of years ago, we did their tree videos. Did you know there's a whole theme that goes through the Bible about trees? It was really interesting. And we get our art journals out and we draw while we watch the video. And we draw something about what we learned and with color pencils or markers or whatever. So I'm looking at some of their videos, and if I figure that out, I'll probably do a separate video for those of you who are interested in Bible curriculum. I might do that later. All right, so the last thing I think that I need to talk about is language arts. English, we would call it when we get older. We don't keep calling it language arts. Let me see, I went over math, science, world history. Oh, we're going to do PE. We're going to go ahead and start on our PE hours because what we do is I just record the hours and we just add them all up until we have a PE credit. So anything that we do physical, we're going to record. So if we go swimming, hiking, bike riding, we have a gym that we can go to. And so we're going to meet some homeschool friends up there and let them play basketball, run around, do the workout equipment, whatever. Anytime we do something physical like that, we just record the hours and we add that up for a PE credit. You can also do textbook stuff, and there's a lot out there that you can use. We might read a book on health or nutrition or something to round out her PE credit, but we're just going to start recording those hours in 8th grade because I feel like that can go ahead and start on that. It takes a few years to gather it up. She's not in any organized sport, so we just kind of do it as we go. All right, anything else? Home economics. We're going to still work on that. We are involved in American Heritage Girls, and there's a lot of badges that go along with that. There's a sewing badge, cooking badge, family helper badge. We're going to just roll all that into a home economics credit and use that as an elective credit for high school as well. So we're going to start this year and probably just bleed into next year with that one. I'm still working on geography. I really wanted to teach a class where we have some friends' kids come over and we have a class of other people for her because she is my last one. She is an only child now. I mean, she's the only one left here at the homeschool. So I wanted to have some friends over and do a class. I did that a couple of years ago with Uncle Sam and you from Knotgrass. We did a civics course, and that was a lot of fun. And I was thinking we should do geography. I really want her to be stronger on map skills. I have some friends that agree. They want their kids to do that too. I'm still looking. So if you have a great idea for a geography materials, just leave me a comment, let me know, because I really need to find something that will work for that. I'm very interested in finding something that's not so much leaning towards learning about the culture, but really strong on map skills. So if you find anything, let me know. All right, this last thing I want to talk about is for English, for language arts, for writing. And what we are going to be using is Cover Story from Clearwater Press. This is the one I say that people are like, I've never heard of that. Have you heard of the one-year adventure novel? That is also from Clearwater Press. It's a high school level curriculum. My oldest daughter used it. Basically, they spend 1 year, and at the end of the year, they've written a novel. The teacher, they call him Mr. S. Daniel, his name is hard to say. It starts with an S. That's why he calls himself Mr. S. He did videos of him teaching the material. So I think you can buy the DVDs or you can stream. And the student watches Mr. S teach the lesson, and he's very fun and uses a lot of costumes and acting in his lessons. They watch him do the lesson and then they do their assignments, and you as the teacher grade them. Cover Story is not writing a novel. Cover Story is for middle school, and at the end they will have written everything they need to make a magazine. They don't actually make the magazine, but they do have a lot of students who go ahead and lay it out using certain programs, and they lay out a digital magazine with everything that they've written, and they cover a lot of different types of writing. There is some literature involved in that. She's going to be reading a lot with her world history course, so I'm not real worried about adding more reading because she reads a lot anyway. But there is some reading and literature, and there is a track that you can do some grammar. It's not heavy on grammar, but we just finished doing Guesthollow's language arts a couple years, and it is very heavy on grammar. So I'm okay with just doing a grammar review this year. Going to be a little heavier on the writing, and that's what I want her to do. So Cover Story from Clearwater Press, you can look at that. And if you have a high schooler who likes to write, one-year adventure novel, and I think they have another curriculum too. I can't remember what it is right now. So those are our picks. Still kind of trying to plump out some things that I need to finish up. Those are my ideas. I am still looking for geography if you have any good ideas, and I am still looking at Bible. Might do another video on that later. If you're sure on your picks, I am so happy for you. It's very hard. It's kind of overwhelming how much there is. Don't forget that Kathy Duffy Reviews is a great place to go. She has reviewed so much curriculum, and I go to her website every year and read reviews, and she's really helped a lot. If I can help you, just feel free to leave me a comment or send me an email. I'll be happy to help you. Thank you.